Okay, awesome. Hey guys, I'm Tiffany and I'm just trying out YouTube Live. So this is a practice round. So I appreciate your patience and grace as I am learning some different technology. I wanted to invite you guys today to join me in talking about the 2023 astrology. We're talking about Q1. So I'm going January, February, and March. And just to give you some bigger themes, right? Like I don't want to get too granular. I'm not going to go day by day, but I do have some of the best days circled for you. So I wanted to just give you a broad overview to start, right? Like as the year starts, we have Mars and Mercury both retrograde, and the Mercury retrograde cycles are all going to be in Earth signs. Okay, so to me, what this means is a period of rebuilding the foundation. So the foundation is being built in a new way. And so anything that wasn't like really super steady, you're going to have a lot of opportunities this year to renegotiate, to rebuild. This could look like a new website. This could look like family values. This could look like rebuilding and renegotiating the terms of your life. I also want to mention that in March, Saturn is going to move into Pisces and Pluto is going to move into Aquarius. This is a very big theme of 2023. These two outer planets are making significant shifts. And so we're going to talk about that when we get to the March part of the episode here. But something else that I found when I was going through Q1 is that the sabian symbol of the new moons for January, February, and March show a very interesting progression that just like wildly matches the astrology, like blows my mind, matches the astrology. So just to give you a little hint of that, and the progression looks like this of the sabian symbols for the new moons. January is an unexpected thunderstorm. February is a squirrel hiding from hunters. March is a woman rises out of the water, a seal rises and embraces her. Okay. And so the new moons go from Aquarius to Pisces to Aries. The seal is a symbol of independence, of self government, and of good luck. So, a very interesting progression. A thunderstorm that was unexpected. The squirrel's hiding its nuts, right? We're gathering things up. And then in March, there's some kind of theme around woman, independence, maybe women leadership, or things like this. Okay. So before we get into January, I just want to welcome you all. If you're new to Wise Skies, we are a spiritual development agency. We do offer one-on-one sessions. We also offer a membership and classes. And so if you're like, this is the year that I really want to get into my psychic development or understand my human design, we would love for you to come over and learn a little bit of astrology basics as it pertains to you, psychic development for your spiritual gifts and talents. So come over and check us out at wiseskiescollective.com. I'm teaching a class on mediumship on December 19th here in 2022. On the 21st, I'm teaching a class with Celeste Brooks of Astrology by Celeste and Sarah El Harar of the Astro Auntie. And we're teaching on solstice on the 21st, all of our 2023 predictions. Now, the first Thursday in January, we've got a class about the Rave New Year. So in human design, when the sun moves into gate 41, that's the real New Year. So we're going to be talking about that. And so just come check it out. There's a lot of cool classes. You're going to love it. So as we get into January of 2023, the numerology shifts for the whole year, right? So we're moving from a 6-year about home and homeland and stability and nurturing and caregiving into a 7, which is much more of that spiritual development, wisdom kind of vibe. It's a lot more quiet time. But January itself is an 8-month, okay? It's an 8-month, this roller coaster, big vibe month in a 7 year. So to me, I'm thinking of like all of the research that's being done about psychedelics, all of the research that's being done in consciousness and brain development, stuff like this to expand your mind. It can be a very liberating month, right, of self-study. And you want to think about the 8 and the infinity symbol and just remember what goes down must come up and what goes up must come down and that whole thing, right? So that's January as a whole. The quadrantid, there's a meteor shower. The quadrantids, the meteor shower, will peak on January 3rd and 4th. So if you're looking for a shooting star, that can be a fun thing to keep your eyes peeled for. The sun in January is going to be in Capricorn mostly, right? this happy birthday Capricorns, and then happy birthday Aquarius, because it'll move from Capricorn to Aquarius on the 20th. And it will transit several gates in human design, but it will get into the 41st gate, the gate of contraction, when we experience the rave new year, the real, I guess, feeling of that revitalization. So if you're making your way through January and you're like, I'm just not feeling that refresh yet, wait until later in the month. What I want to, that's the sun, right? So the sun is illuminating, inspiring. It shows us what we need to know about ourself, our health, our ego, right? And then if you want to talk about the moon is what reflects our emotional side. So this kind of yin yang thing going on. The full moon in January will be on the 6th in 16 degrees of Cancer, wrapping up that 6 numerology year of home and family and emotional health. The full moon in Cancer helps us clear space. It's a great way, like opportunity to clean your house, to clean out a drawer, to clean out your emotional life, right? And to not think about things that don't matter. There's emotional illumination with this moon, but also with full moons, you always want to be aware of like excess energy. The tides are high, blood flow is high, sugar cycles are high, the karmic deadlines are approaching. And also with a full moon, it's a good time to find hidden objects, to find things that have been previously hidden from you. More is illuminated, right? The new moon in January will be on the 21st in 1 degree of Aquarius. This is the Sabian symbol of the unexpected thunderstorm. Very Aquarius, right? Very Aquarius is governed by Uranus energy, that very eclectic thunderstorm, crazy, who knows what's going to happen, unexpected, trend setting, knows the vibe type of energy. So that new moon there, right? You might want to surround yourself with really inspirational people, put yourself in environments that give you that aha moment, things like this. There's always a new 2.5-year cycle that starts with a new moon. And this particular new moon family story that starts on January 21st will play out through 2025. And I have all those dates for you. They are in the digital astrology calendar at wiseskiescollective.com in the shop. They're also in our workbook. So if you're like, oh, I got to know these dates, right? Check out our calendar, check out the workbook, and I'll go through all of them for you. I don't want to get too granular in this video about all that, but I do want you to be aware that there's a new cycle starting. Okay, so we're still in January, and let's talk about Mercury. It's retrograde in Capricorn in the month of January. It will stay retrograde until the 18th. And so again, this idea of renegotiating terms of business, rebuilding something, maybe starting something from the ground up. Maybe, there's room to let the wrecking ball come in somewhere that you've been hesitant about before. What are you rebuilding physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, partnershipally, parentally? Like, what are you kind of redoing? Mercury will be Cazimi, or in the heart of the sun, on the 7th. And this is very much this information wizardry, this communication, this download feeling, right? And so if you're new to astrology and you're like, what is a Cazimi? We have an article for you at the blog at wiseskiescollective.com. In January, Venus is going to be in Aquarius through January 2nd. It will quickly move into Pisces. Let's see, January 26th through February 20th. Venus in Aquarius and then Pisces, it's kind of, there's like this idea of staying curious, staying curious about what's going on with your love life, what's going on with your finances. This isn't to get you to worry about it. It's just like, I wonder what's going on in this department and what I'm learning, or what is up, right? Like, just stay curious and don't take things so personally. Just remember that Venus represents the heart too. Yes, love and money, but also the heart. And so polishing the mirror of the heart means that I'm going to choose to see everybody else as a fragment of the one source. And so I'm not going to be mad at the other person, right? I'm going to have a lot of compassion because I'm going to see them with eyes that they're me, that we're all one, that there is no other, there's just us, right? So that's what Venus in Aquarius and then moving into Pisces makes me feel like. Retrograde Mars, right, in the month of January, it's going to go direct on the 12th. It's still in Gemini, though, and it'll remain in retrograde until March 16th. So pretty much going to be in Gemini for a while. You want to think about clarity and right action as important themes, but Mars in Gemini still has this back and forth, give or take, not sure. Gemini rules the hands, the lungs, the shoulders. So if you're having any kind of respiratory stuff going on or hand issues, I have had so many texts about hand stuff lately. It's been wild to watch the health astrology come to life with Mars, this particular Mars retrograde period. But just know that that's coming to an end. And so as we finish talking about January, I want you to circle these as best days: the 4th and 5th, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, the 18th, the 23rd, 24th, and the 29th. That's a lot of good days. Okay, so there's something to look forward to here in January. And I think it's important to look for the good days. I'm not ignoring the bad days. I just don't want to be too granular and specific. So let's move into February. So let me grab a sip of tea here. We were talking about January being an 8-month, which means February is a 9-month in the numerology. December of 2022 is a 9-month of integration, right? I just pulled this alligator card, which is also the card of integration before we got started. But we want to appreciate and integrate all that life has to offer, the good and the bad, the subconscious and the conscious. That's always going to be a theme, right? But in a 9-month, it's ever like top of mind. And so that's December 2022, February of 2023, and it will occur again. It will repeat that energy in November of 2023. So closure, completion, tying things up. What are you integrating? What are you letting the wrecking ball come through with so that you can rebuild? If you're feeling a sense of urgency, is it really your urgency? Are you amplifying the feeling of urgency that's out there or that's with somebody else? Can you notice, when do I feel urgent? When do I want to wrap stuff up? Is it because of somebody else's energy, or is it really mine to wrap up? So if we want to talk about the sun, right? The sun is how we are shining. The sun is moving from Aquarius into Pisces on the 18th of February. It'll transit gates 19, 13, 49, 30, 55, and 37 if you're into human design, right? So just know that the sun is going to be moving through these gates. It will be in Pisces. It's also that coming full circle, the last sign of the zodiac, right? If we talk about the sun, let's then talk about the moon, what's being reflected to us, our emotional inner state, right? Our inner state. The full moon in February is on the 5th. It's at 16 degrees of Leo. And I tell people this all the time in mediumship sessions: just remember to live, right? We're here for a good time, not a long time. And this Leo full moon helps us remember that. I was in a church service this morning and they were talking about somebody being diagnosed, and this person really wanted to be back at work. And the doctor said, I don't think you're going back to work. I think you should do whatever you really want to do, you know? And that is kind of that sense of this full moon, this like, where have you not played, and can you forgive yourself? And is there some area you can let yourself off the hook? The full moon in Leo helps us to recognize where we've been very courageous too. So something that requires a lot of courage, that requires a lot of heart, that requires a lot of passion, right? This moon of self-illumination, and just a reminder that the full moon, the tides are high, emotions are high, blood flow is high, people are feeling it, right? There can be excess energy. It can be a good time to see things that were previously hidden from you. More is revealed under the light of the moon. Now, the new moon in February is going to be on the 20th. It'll be in 1 degree of Pisces. The sabian symbol is a squirrel hiding from hunters. And I think we should take this one very seriously because March is a month that is predicted to have some very interesting health consequences, education, research, information. But I'm taking it seriously. A squirrel hiding its nuts. I want you to be prepared. I want your immune systems to be prepared. I want your pantries to be prepared. I want your health things to be prepared. I'm not like a crazy prepper hoarder, but I am definitely in stock with all of my homeopathics and all of the things that I need to do to take care of my people, right? That I like to do to take care of my people. So just know that that new moon with that squirrel hiding from hunters is significant. It's in 1 degree of Pisces. So wherever 1 degree of Pisces in your chart starts a new 27-month, 2.5-year cycle, right? And so you're going to want to come back on these dates as they play out. plays out over 4 moons, right? So the first one is February 20th, the new moon in 1 degree of Pisces. The new cycle begins. You may or may not be aware of it. It may be in the subconscious mind. It might not be fully out in the light yet. November 20th will be the first quarter moon poised to take action. The August 19th is the full moon in 27 of Aquarius. So there's a pivot, right? More revealed under the full moon. And then on May 20th, the fourth, the last quarter moon there, the mission will be complete. This moon phase family goes from Pisces to Aquarius, right? So a lot of that feeling in this first quarter, this Pisces Aquarius feeling. Okay, now Mercury in the month of February will enter Aquarius on the 11th, and it will stay there the rest of the month. When I think about Aquarius, you think about futuristic thinking, networks and friends, robotics, things that are kind of out there and interesting and very futuristic, right? So if you find yourself future tripping, that could be an area to take caution in. Are you inspired to start a club, start a book club, host a social event, do something fun, right? Aquarius likes to have fun and likes to connect. Mercury is that flow of information. If you're trying to write a book, this would be a good time to get some downloads in the morning and write your thoughts out, do some automatic writing. Venus will be in Aries February 20th through March 16th. This is about self love. Mars will remain in Gemini, and there's more than one right answer. So again, we're just turning things over, chewing on things. Don't get fixated on what you think is right, even if you're certain. You can be certainly wrong, and so just keep getting different perspectives, looking like sleeping on it, chewing on it from a different way, and just keeping your intention pure, right? The best days in February I've circled are the 10th, the 15th through the 17th. That's all I circled for February. It doesn't mean there's not more good days. It's just all that I identified. And so if you want the granular nitty gritty of it, when Venus trines Jupiter or when Mars sextiles Uranus or these things, I invite you to check out our social media. We do a really good job of posting the astrology and the human design transits. We also have the calendar that you can check out. That's a digital. It goes on any device. This is the best time of year to buy it because you'll have it all year. Okay. Last but not least, we've got March 2023. So March is a 1 month, right? A new cycle begins, and there's nothing more true as these two outer planets are moving. So I could talk about all of these little specific things that are happening in March, but it's kind of like if we were on the topic of COVID and I was like, well, it would be great if you could change your one pillowcase to be organic cotton. Like, yeah, that would be great, but there's this larger thing to address, right? And that's kind of how the astrology is too. So I'm going to talk about the organic cotton sheets, and then I'm going to talk about the bigger things to address too. So one, right? It's a 1 year and a 7 month. You can use your focus pocus. You can use motivation and clarity and your inner vision and your drive and your determination, that one energy of the numerology, to spark some new beginnings, to create new identities for yourself, new logos, finding the one in the one, the universal oneness of you and the whole. Have you guys read the high five challenge? I thought it was great. So you can high five yourself in the mirror in March. So you can take the high five challenge if you want to do that. So this initiation type one driven focus type energy repeats itself in December. So March and December have the same numerology this year. The sun in March moves from Pisces to Aries, right? The full moon is going to be on February 5th at 16 degrees of Virgo. Okay. So health issues starting to pop up again. Like we're getting a little hit of what's coming, right? So the 5th, we've got the full moon in Virgo, health stuff illuminated. I think we're going to get a lot of information about what was up with long COVID or what was up with certain things in that arena, right? I think that more will definitely be revealed on this full moon about health, long-term health, good information about gardens, data, ancestry, roots, our lineage. All of this is very Virgo-y. I also wrote about like finding your patron saint or your tribal talisman or like what spiritual connection you have with your last name. I think it would be kind of a fun thing to journal through on this full moon. Virgo, like the difficult tendencies with the Virgo full moon is we can get stuck in this analysis paralysis. So I'm just going to invite you to not, right? And to just get organized and to get things out of your head and onto a spreadsheet or onto paper and deal with things honestly. And that way it doesn't feel so overwhelming. You're not hanging on to so much information. It's a good moon for service illumination and where you want to be of service. Reminder that the tides are high, blood flow is high, cycles are breaking, people have big feelings, right, that they're going through. More will be revealed. The new moon in March is on the 21st. It's at 0 degrees of Aries. This is an exciting moon to talk about. And I'm really juiced up about it because I think that Celeste is going to give us some more insights about this particular moon cycle when we do our 2023 predictions on December 21st. This new moon is at 0 degrees of Aries. What? How cool is that? On March 21st, the sabian symbol is a woman rises out of the water, a seal rises and embraces her, right? And so this Aries, right? The self, when you love yourself, when you understand yourself, right? When you go in, then you get more information. The self illumination begins. And so this cycle starts on March 21st in 0 degrees of Aries, and it goes all the way through June 18th, 2025. And if you want those specific dates, again, they're in our calendar, our digital calendar in our workbook. There's a garden tip for you. You want to plant annual flowers and plants that bear fruit and vegetables that are above the ground when the moon is waxing. So when it's going from new moon to full moon, the leaves and stems are growing and the moonlight is increasing, right? So a little garden tip for you. Okay, still in March, Mercury journeys into Pisces. Let's see. Yeah, Mercury journeys into Pisces. So this is more about Pisces would be like our creative project. So if we move from Aquarius into Pisces, right, it's going to be more yoga and meditation and bliss and movies and getting some cool, like we watched Peaceful Warrior last night. So we had a lot of fun visiting some kind of Ram Dass vibes. You know what I mean? All right. Venus is going to be in Aries through March 16th. This is about health. This is about worth. Venus in Taurus will happen March 16th through April 10th. There's romance, there's reliability, there's issues there's themes. I don't want to say issues about like slow moving, slow sensuality, like not rushing anything, physique, weight training, weightlifting. You never know what you're fighting for. You never know what you're preparing for, right? So you might as well keep preparing yourself, right? Physically, and with your physical body, and then also mentally and emotionally. So your psychic development, very important this year. Mars is still in Gemini. It'll move into Cancer March 25th through May 20th. Did I sound like a little bit like a weather girl there? It'll move into Cancer on March 25th through May 20th. So home security. There can be passive aggressiveness with Mars in Cancer. It can feel like a stinger. It can feel ouchy. It can feel like people aren't quite able to express what they're trying to say. There's a theme about fighting for the underdog or fighting just because kind of. There can be crab wisdom here too. So crab wisdom would be retreating, sucking back, taking some alone time while Mars is in Cancer, not for like the purpose of hurting someone or alienating yourself, but just kind of regrouping in your own aura, right? And just settling down a little bit. Now, okay, I told you guys that March was going to be a big month for the outer planet shifts. Saturn moves into Pisces on March 7th. It will stay there through May, and then it'll dip back and it'll go back into Pisces August 2025 until February 2026. So it has a few dips, but it'll be moving from Aquarius into Pisces for 3 years, right? Saturn, discipline, rules, clarity, boundaries, military, strategies, long-term planning, granddad, the clock in the sky, karma, Saturn. Pisces, psychic development, spiritual development, meditation, spirituality, space, film, music, right? Very different energies, very different energies. It's like this opportunity for spiritual development, for space discovery. When Saturn was last in Pisces 30 years ago, You look at things like the AIDS pandemic. You look at things like the class action lawsuits with cigarette companies, right? My cousin was writing a thesis about that at the time. And anyways, if you look back the last 30 years ago, like the last time that Saturn was in Pisces, 27 to 30 years ago, a cycle of Saturn, you can see some of the similar health themes or society themes that are popping up. We used to like fly in airplanes with people smoking cigarettes, right? And then 30 years ago, it was like we like lawsuits against the tobacco companies. So who knows what kind of normal thing we are experiencing now that might have some big old class action lawsuits. Maybe you should stop vaping, guys. Kidding, not kidding, right? Okay, so that's one of them. The other big one is that Pluto transitions into Aquarius on March 23rd. That's a significant change in the subconscious patterns of cultures, of societies, of technologies. Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, and it's going to be in Aquarius from 2023 to 2044 with some dip backs, right? But we've got Aquarius is that futuristic discovery. So, what futuristic discovery is? Helping shape the psyche, Pluto, of humanity, right? It's kind of a big deal. So anything that like the mushrooms and the psychedelics and all of that type of research that's surfacing right now, a lot of people are very interested in changing their neural pathways, right? And this is kind of what we're doing collectively. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying these are the themes of this planet and this sign, okay? If you look back of the most recent transit of Pluto in Aquarius, this was 1777 to 1797. Okay, this is the Enlightenment period in Russia, the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, the musicians Mozart, Haydn, Beethoven. There was a big revolution in the United States, right? The Constitution was established during that time. So was the Bill of Rights. Yeah. And you can see it is a change maker. It is a change making time. Aquarius typically rules the future and female. And so you'll see in some of my predictions, that's why I predict more female leadership, right? It's not a personal thing. It's just an astrology thing that I'm seeing some trends in. The other thing that I told you guys, I was like, let's just be careful about our health in March. So this spring, there's a lot of health flare up, red flag things going on. And so notice what plants are blooming, right? Especially now. Like notice as we go into the spring, notice what plants there's more of. The plant kingdom will create more of one thing that will help. Like the mullein was out of control before COVID, like all of these herbs that help with respiratory health. And so you can pay attention to the natural kingdom and to see, what is the earth trying to do to help you in the month of March. What we're looking at are Pisces and Virgo placements. Okay, Pisces and Virgo placements in March. The sun is in Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. The new moon is in Pisces, February 20th. The full moon is in Virgo, March 7th. The Mercury is in Pisces, March 3rd to 19th. Ceres, retrograde in Virgo, March 24th to June 21st. Saturn in Pisces, March 8th, right? Forever. And Neptune is in Pisces, right? And will be until March 30th of 2025. So paying close attention to our health, our respiratory issues, and how the stage has been set for certain health ramifications. Like Uranus is in Taurus. Maybe health is related to supply chain issues or growing issues or stuff like this. So if you haven't started a garden yet, this is a good time to be experimenting and looking at feeding yourself and feeding your family. And if you're like, have no idea how to go from like the garden to your table with a real recipe that fulfills you, right? Like I live in Texas and we joke about like we can't live on salsa alone. We grow a lot of tomatoes, a lot of jalapenos, right? But a lot of peppers. But teach yourself to grow something like butternut squash or sweet potatoes or spinach or things that have sustenance to them. Like start to learn the patterns of the garden and the growing season. Mother Nature doesn't have all of the food available all of the time, right? And it wouldn't be so bad for our personal health to live a little bit more seasonally. But we can go to the store right now, is it a blessing or a curse? I don't know, to be able to get whatever you want. And so starting to learn some of these things. Get involved with your mycology association locally. Learn about mushrooms. Learn about the things that help with your health that are a little bit alternative to just going to the grocery store, right? There's some things that you can do at home, no matter where you live, even if you're in an apartment or if you don't feel like you have land, there are plenty of things you can do. So I hope this has helped you kind of get your head around Q1. I did a different approach than I normally do. I hope it's been useful. I appreciate your feedback. Thanks for hanging out with me live on YouTube. I was trying to practice the technology a little bit, see how it was going to work. And just, guys, I hope you have a blessed end of the year in 2022 and that 2023 starts out just with grace and beauty and comfort, and that you just set yourself up for the time of your life. Okay. Thanks for being here. I'm Tiffany. I'm at wiseskiescollective.com. Namaste.